Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about this cruiser, Hildebrand, that is being quite absurd in its design, and a lot of players are really hating what Wargaming has done with this ship. Like, everyone really wants a cruiser, but certainly not a hybrid of that design that just completely annoys not only destroyer class in general because of the plane spotting that is already been an issue in World of Warships. It's kind of creating some sort of problem, like you just can't deal at all. Like, it's not possible to deal with them, especially with the armaments that Hildebrand has. And I want to talk about this because this is kind of really absurd. The design that they are choosing nowadays for hybrids is kind of dented or demented, I would say, and Hildebrand is no exception. It has torpedo bombers, first of all, that reloads almost in a minute. Torpedo bombers are basically based on Richthofen torpedo bombers. It has pretty much similar armament. The speed is also the same. I just popped up this torpedo bomber. By the way, this is not my gameplay, but I can show you something which is pretty disgusting. Two Hildebrands and FDR. Ouch. I mean, I'm sure FDR is absurd and it's stupid design already, but then why Hildebrand? Why they have come up with these torpedo bombers that just reload in under a minute and they can spot destroyers for days? The destroyers are trying to get into the sea cap. Well, they should not really do this because it's like a very much of a death zone for destroyers now. You can see here, I just literally spot this Harugumo. I would say my division mate, because I'm showing the division mate's gameplay. But anyways, the Harugumo gets spotted, and well, this is something that is already a problem with aircraft carriers already. Like, the spotting issue is definitely out there. It is too much spotting already with carriers, and then now you are coming up with this Hildebrand torpedo bombers that just reload under a minute, deal 4,500 damage, and I mean, if you shoot or hit on the bow, for example, like he did on the Bungo, well, there's a chance of getting a flood. Look at that. He did get the flood. Why? Because torpedoes have decent flood chance when they don't hit onto the torpedo belt. Torpedo belt actually resists the torp flooding, but then you just do that and you get a flood. One torpedo hit. I mean, surely he's not really one of the good carrier players. I mean, he's playing, or at least trying to play as cruiser. But imagine now he can try again and drop on Bungo and can get a flood. That is baffling. Like, you can see here, look at that. They spot the Harugumo. There's another division mate that is trying to use the Hildebrand. And imagine what Harugumo is gonna try to do. He has to either smoke up, or maybe he might eat torpedoes, or maybe he might eat some damage from other teammate. Maybe Petro shoot him. That is possible. Lucky enough, there is a Jinan with defensive air fire, so the planes are pretty weak, unfortunately, or I would say fortunately. But yeah, Bungo taken at least one torpedo hit, and this design is pretty absurd. And the moment he comes back to the cruiser itself, the planes are ready again. So, I mean, the problem is not that. The problem is that the reload time of these torpedo bombers is already obscene. A lot of players I have seen, I mean, if you are not really a good player, I have seen they literally play this Hildebrand as aircraft carrier. They don't shoot the guns. I mean, in this case, he will definitely going to shoot, even though he's not a good carrier player. He's just trying to, find out the play style of Hildebrand. He got lucky. He got this ship, but this absurd design is really, really demented. Now, he has torpedo bombers and bombers ready, and I haven't even talked about the bombers, which is the biggest issue, in my opinion, that they have come up with. Like, Hildebrand bombs are 6 of them. And you know what's the problem with the Hildebrand bombers? Well, they literally copy-pasted these bombers reticle from the Lowenhart. Yeah, a rich Lowenhart that got removed for being a notoriously broken ship against destroyers. Well, they have copy-pasted that literally reticle, and they just given that into the Hildebrand's bombers, a low and hard, and then they have come up with this plan. Imagine this. it's not even funny, guys. I don't understand this, that why they are trying to do this over and over again with these absurd designs. He didn't even try to use the bombs, but I'm sure you have seen many of the clips that how much they are brutal against destroyers. And now he started to use them. These bombs have 13,700 damage. A super carrier like United States have 16,000 alpha damage, and it has really wide reticle so that it does not get too much strong against destroyers. But Hildebrand has this low and hard reticle bomb with a 7 seconds of heal. Did you see what Rhode Island can do? He won't be able to shoot down these planes because he can't do that. And look at that. 6 bomb hits, guaranteed damage. 17,000 damage. And then the other Hildebrand started to use torpedo bombers on this Rhode Island, who is trying to push and trying to do some aggressive gameplay against Petro. But still, you can clearly see that this is not really going right for this team, right? This design is so absurd. It's so stupid. Even for a carrier player like me, I definitely feel this is way too much. Giving bombs that just guarantee deal damage to destroyers, battleship or cruisers every 4 minutes. Doesn't matter if it's like 4 minutes, you have at least 4 chances. 4 chances to drop on a target and guarantee do damage. Because those bombs having low and hard reticle, which is sort of not dodgeable. Like, where's the balance? Like, why they haven't even thought of it? That it could be a big problem, but they are not certainly thinking like that, unfortunately. So Hildebrand is really absurd. I want to just make a comparison of Hildebrand with the Midway bombs, okay? Midway has 3 attack, on those bombers that we all know that they are very strong against destroyers, but it also have very big, oval sort of reticle, where the dispersion is going to be everywhere so that the bombs does not hit all of them on a destroyer. But low and hard, or I would say Hildebrand, both of them having such a reticle of bombs that you guarantee to get at least 1 or 2 bomb hit. Yeah, 4 or 5 bomb hits is going to be a lot luckier, but that is possible in the case of Hildebrand because of that absurd reticle of the bomb itself. The bomb reticle is so small, and a ship like, for example, the Elbing, or for example, the Trump, or for example, the Ragnar. I mean, Ragnar supposedly have strong AA, mid-range aura. He might be able to shoot down the plane, but in the case of Hildebrand, he cannot do it. Why? Because you have given it 7 seconds of heal. It used to be 5 seconds, guys, by the way, but they decided to make it a lot easier. And look at that. Hildebrand tried to use these torpedo bombers, and that Shimakaze trying to smoke up, eaten 2 torpedoes, because these torpedoes are ridiculously fast, 225 knots of speed, and these torpedoes deal like 4,500 damage, and they are blazing fast 55 or 58 knot torpedoes. So you can imagine that how much DD's life is going to be a lot much more complicated in a carrier game, as well as with the Hildebrand as well. Now in the case of my Hildebrand division mate, the other Hildebrand, he actually popped the hydro, which is also another really good feature of German ships, 6 kilometer hydro, which is really valuable. But again, you have these bombs that can really hard counter destroy, like really. They can absolutely devastate a destroyer with ease. On the other hand, you have torpedo bombers that can like this is Hildebrand, okay? 16,000 damage. The enemy Hildebrand did the damage to this Hildebrand. So it's really not really going well for these surface ships that will be spotting like crazy. Like this Harugumo, for example, he's going to get cross-torped by FDR as well as from these torpedoes. So imagine how he will be able to dodge these torpedoes. Like look at that, he eaten a torpedo, and then he again eaten a torpedo of this Hildebrand because he cannot dodge FDR torpedoes. It kind of reminds me the same thing as what RTS carriers used to do. Well, now you can just pick a division mate, pick Hildebrand or FDR or maybe any other carrier that has torpedo bombers, and you can do the same shenanigans. Now look at that. So many strong A, Hildebrand, Kurfürst, Bungo, not a single plane shot down. 5 bomb hits. If he would have maybe slightly aimed the reticle onto the middle of the ship, most likely he will get all 6 bombs. Because those bombs are guaranteed to be hit onto the battleship. Like, the battleships have such thick hulls at this tier that a tier 6 Lowenhardt hull, Lowenhardt's reticle should be enough. Now look at that. Shimakaze got spotted by FDR planes, and he got another kill after Harugumo. So he killed both of their division mates. The Shima and Harugumo were in division, and now the Hildebrand is having a really strong position. He can launch torpedo bombers, which he already did. Bombers, Ichi bombers, which he already did, and then he also launching these torpedo bombers. So you can clearly see where this is going. He uses torpedoes, and well, he's gonna eat 2 torpedoes of Shimakaze most likely, because he might not have realized this. He does not have hydro, but still. Now, the last of the Bungo's HP will be gonna be for short. It's not gonna be long, where Bungo will survive, and then there is also a Kurfürst. So he's really playing it well. And imagine that you have planes that keep coming out, and you don't need to just risk your hull, because that's the problem with carriers as well. You really don't need to risk your hull to just deal damage. In this case, he's doing the same thing. He knows that he's low and he needs to survive, and he will just keep reversing and will not take damage from Kurfürst. And he's trying to do the right thing. Like, look at that. He shoot the guns, 7k damage. He's keeping on reversing himself, and now he can just use his torpedo bombers. And most likely, the A of Kurfürst shouldn't be that enough to basically dodge or basically able to shoot down these planes. Because another absurd mechanic for a single strike planes is that they are having effectively more HP than the normal squad. Like, if you have a lot of attack runs, usually the last strike that you have will have effectively more HP, because they have built into some sort of hidden mechanics where they will just take more AA damage and will not going to get their planes shot down. So that is also absurd. Hildebrand bombers are not only better than Midway, they're having equivalent, or I would say maybe higher or maybe slightly lesser HE alpha bombs damage than FDR. And FDR is insane with those bombs. And Hildebrand kind of having that same absurd concept of having that insane alpha strike with these bombs. And most likely he will get another strike, for sure. Because that's the thing about the Hildebrand. He does not have to risk the hull at the late games, or he might able to do something like this. He traded out a lot of his HP by shooting the guns, and then once his HP is low, he can just go on sort of autopilot mode and can only play his hull as CV. Isn't that absurd? This is the most ridiculous thing that I can think of, right? And that's what exactly is the case, right? Now, he does not have to really risk in any way possible. Here he's shooting Nakhimov, and Nakhimov is broadsiding. These are A-gear guns. They can deal pretty decent damage. Now, in this case, the dispersion might be wonkier, but most likely, because it's a battlecruiser dispersion, he will still going to have consistency compared to battleships, I would say. And as you can see here, he got 2 Citadel hits, and that's what it is. I also got torpedoes because I was playing in FDR, and imagine he's taken massive damage from FDR bombs, and now he has 12,000 HP left. And another problem of having Hildebrand is going to be that the carriers cannot able to prevent himself to take damage from these bombs, especially if you are in Nakhimov. Like, look at that. 3 bombs hit, Nakhimov is done. That's 12k damage in 3 bomb hits. He can actually do 27,000 damage theoretically. And then he was so pissed that Nakhimov was so pissed that he basically said something in German. He's probably swearing at the moment. I'm sure there might be a German guy who's watching this video knows what he's saying, but you can see here how toxic this can really get. 2 Hildebrands. Nakhimov at least got the Hildebrand, but still, the game is pretty much over. I can talk about Hildebrand days upon days and why this carrier is absurd, but I just want to, add some information that I believe that this ship is kind of the most stupid design that I can think of in this game. I don't think so that giving two armaments on a single cruiser hull is a good idea. It's not a good idea, especially if the torpedo bombers reload in just under a minute, almost a minute. This seems to be way out of, or maybe the development team is way out of touch, that how they can just justify the balance, especially with the spotting that it does against destroyers. I mean, it's crazy. So I want to have some feedback and comments that why Hildebrand is absurd for you guys. What did you face against Hildebrand? How do you think that this ship is going to cause a lot much more problems? Or maybe upcoming hybrids can cause more problems. You please let me know. I hope you might able to see that this is like, look at that, like he just did some really good damage to destroyers in this case, like significant damage to Nakhimov. Look at that, man. He shoot the guns, he shoot the bomb, use the bombs, torpedoes. It's ridiculous. Look at the damage. He has done more damage with planes than the main battery itself. so that is how mind-boggling this carrier, or I would say this cruiser, really is. Shimakaze, look at that. Harugumo, everyone taken some damage. That's what Hildebrand really does. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you might find some information that I want to give about the Hildebrand interesting, and if you do find it, please comment and definitely like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys into the next one. Peace out.